Hare Krishna. We will start the session by paying our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, who is founder Acharya of ISKCON. We'll also seek blessings from our spiritual masters, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So we are on our journey to the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Karma Yoga. We have total of 43 verses in this chapter, and we have covered 3 sections so far. And last time we covered till verse number 24 of the 4th section, right? Which is all about Nishkam Karma Yoga to set the right example, where Krishna is telling that why, even if you are qualified, you should still continue to do Nishkam Karma. Right? So we'll move on. So these are some summary slides which I had sent across to all of you. I just want to check if anyone has any question on this. Any question from the past sessions? Okay. So if not, we can move on. Yeah. So our last session was all about Krishna saying that, you know, even if you are detached, right, person who is Atma Santushta, Atma Chitta, right, he should still continue, right? Because if a person is in transcendental platform, then what is the fear, right? They can just continue. He will not get entangled. And then he says that there were kings like such as Janaka, who also were qualified, but they continue. Why? Because they wanted to set an example. And then Krishna says the leaders should be exemplary, because general mass follows leaders. Right? And hereafter Krishna gave his own example, that this is for the first time basically Krishna establishes himself as supreme personality, saying that, you know, I don't have any duty to do, I'm not dependent on anything, I'm not looking for anything. Even then I continue to do my responsibilities, because if I don't do, then you know, I'll lead general mass for ruination. They'll not follow what they're supposed to follow. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so we'll continue now on the same discussion on Nishkam Karma Yoga to set the right example. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So far we have covered that a self-realized soul need not work, yet he works. Why? For setting the right example. Today, Krishna willing, will try to cover verse 25 to 32, where Krishna talks about, it's basically a comparison between an attached worker and a detached worker. Between the two, someone who works with attachment and someone who works without attachment to the result of activity. And then Krishna also will highlight that we should not disturb anyone who is attached. So there we will discuss that. What does Krishna want to say there? And thereafter, Krishna says that actually everyone should work for me, right? What Krishna highlighted in 3.9, 3.10. Krishna specifically, you know, there it was an indirect reference. But here in 3.30, Krishna will give a direct conclusion, you know, putting himself in the center, right? So what happens, like if we follow Krishna's order, and then what will happen if we don't follow Krishna's order? And then next time we will discuss more about working according to one's nature. Today we'll give a brief introduction of that, but next time, this was something very important, which is why I thought like we should give do proper justice to that last 3 verses. So I will discuss it next time. Okay. So we can move on. Yeah. So yeah, you can. Yeah. So there are total of 5 verses in this, where Krishna is comparing the two, attached and a detached worker. 25 to 29. 25, 27, and 28, Krishna basically elaborates and highlights the difference between the two. While in 26 and 27, he would say a detached worker should not basically disturb an attached worker, and how basically a devotee, how he should be dealing with non-devotees. That will be highlighted. Okay. So yeah, we can move on to the next slide. Act without attachment to set an example. So who will like to read this verse?
Sakta karmana vidvamso yatha kuvanti bharata kuryat vidvams tatha sakta chikishur loka sangraham.
You read the translation.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to result, right? The learned may similarly act, but without attachment. Why? For the sake of leading people on the right path. Now we have discussed this concept many times, right? And because many of you have asked this question, that what does it actually mean? Like you are also a computer engineer working in IT companies. You are a doctor. You may be a lawyer, or you may be a businessman, right? And you are practicing Krishna consciousness. And there are others also in general mass who have similar qualifications, who are professionals or who are businessmen, right? What is the difference between the two? How can we identify? Right? So first thing, what is the difference between the two? And then the question will come, how we will identify. The difference between the two is, one is acting to gratify his or her own senses, and the other is working for the pleasure of Krishna. That is the difference. And then the difference is in the consciousness. The difference is not in the activity. The difference is in the consciousness, or in the desire of how a person is working. Not what a person does, but why a person does something, and with what mindset. Right? So moving on to the next slide. Now, can anyone tell me, is this activity good or bad?
It depends on
Restricted to the context.
Right? So this is part of the deck from our introductory sessions. So we know that seemingly, shooting or beating someone it looks like it is a negative act. It's not a desirable, right? And if we move on to the next slide, while charity and truth, they are more towards positive, right? Giving charity or speaking truth, something which is expected from general mass, right? But if we dive deep into right? Moving on to the next slide. Charity to a terrorist organization, or charity to a drunkard. Is it good? No. Act is charity. But to whom you are giving and with what consciousness you are giving, that is important. Right? Speaking truth to a butcher who is seeking the path of a runaway cow, or shooting by a soldier during the war. It's not bad. It is a desirable act. Similarly, if an authority is punishing a criminal, right? Again, this is a desirable. So, although most of the time these acts are not desirable, but it all depends. Similarly, if you see, if we move on to the next slide, action by itself is we cannot determine if it is wrong or right. Any act, whether it is, a driving of a car, right? You may be driving to a bar, or you may be driving to a temple, right? You may be working for Krishna, and you may be working to do a crime. So it is important for us to understand the context. Good or bad depends more on intention than on the action. And for any activity, there is a set of standards on the basis of which a person acts. Right? For example, we work in companies. And in companies, we have our own standard set of SOPs. Right? And as long as we are abiding those SOPs, we are sort of in compliance with the quality norms of a company. But if you don't follow those SOPs, those policies, those working instructions, right, then we will be highlighted by quality assurance or quality compliance group as someone who is not doing what is expected of him or her, right? And we may be liable for punishment. It can be anything. Similarly, in any sphere of life, there are set of standards which we have to follow, whatever it is. Whether you are driving, there are traffic rules put forth by the traffic commissioners, right, the government. Whether there is any business, right, government wants that, the set of principles you should be following. When we are earning money, we have to pay taxes. Right? When we talk about gold, right, again, there is standard, which is hallmarking of gold, to make sure that we maintain certain quality and we follow some rules and regulations. Similarly, if every sphere of life has a particular set of rules and regulations, then what about our own life? Which is very important thing for all of us. Should there be no set rules and regulations to be followed? There are. And they are put forward in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which we are studying. Right? So basically, what Krishna is saying is that, an ignorant person is performing duty with a particular consciousness. He's attached to the result. While a learned person, superficially it seems that he is also doing the same thing. But you never know what for, why is he doing that, right? So that is the whole difference between the two. And as long as we are in compliance with what Bhagavad Gita is saying, then we are pious. We are doing something which Krishna wants us to. Krishna said in 3.10, what did he say? That I created this universe. What for? I created this universe so that we can perform yajna, right? And by performance of yajna, we will not only attain liberation, but we will be happy on this earth. We will live happily. So that was the whole purpose why Krishna created this universe. So now if you don't follow this process, then definitely you will never be happy. Right? So it is very important for us to understand. Now, Prabhupada highlights an important thing in his purport. Someone would like to read it?
I will read soon. A person in Krishna consciousness and a person not in Krishna consciousness are differentiated by different desires. A Krishna conscious person does not do anything which is not conducive to development of Krishna consciousness. He may even act exactly like the ignorant person who is too much attached to the material activities, but one is engaged in such activities for the satisfaction of his sense gratification, whereas the other is engaged for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is required to show the people how to act and how to engage the results of action for the purpose of Krishna consciousness.
So, Mukhi, can you elaborate on this? I want you to explain this.
Yeah. So what Prabhupada ji is saying is, a person in Krishna's consciousness and also the person who is not in Krishna consciousness may perform the similar duty, but the desires are different. So the intent is the different. So it is mainly differentiated by the intent rather than by the direct action, whatever is visible to us. So the people in Krishna's consciousness, they do it for the pleasure of Krishna, and others might do it for the sense gratification. So the person in Krishna consciousness has to show to the rest of the people how to engage the results of act for the purpose of Krishna consciousness. I think that is what I understand.
Right. Anyone has any other comment on this? This is very important because this is very practical, right?
Yeah.
And
so the difference basically would be self gratification and work towards gratifying the senses of Lord.
right. Yes. So that is the difference, right?
Yeah.
Now, in our own life, what do you think? Why is it so important for all of us?
I think people may not understand the intent of the action.
Yes.
We may understand, but we have to set it as an example and make sure that non-Krishna consciousness people understand that, but without disturbing them, something like that.
Right.
I think the challenge we have is that the person who acts for sense gratification, maybe he is doing a good action, we should not demotivate them. At the same time, gradually
that
we
will
have
come
to,
in that will come in the next verse.
okay.
But for now, in this verse, see how should we imply this? Like, how is it related to our practical life? Is that all of us, we are working, right? And everyone is working. Yes. But the difference is when we are working with a mindset Now, the result, the result of the work is what? The salary, right? That is the whole result. So, are we too attached or not? Right? Superficially, everyone is working. But when, as a devotee, we work, we cannot say that we will work if we are not paid, right? Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight, but Krishna didn't want that Arjuna should shoot arrows anywhere, right? Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight properly. It does not mean that you should fight properly because to get an intended result, right? Understood? So it is not the result is a problem. The result is not a problem. But how that result is utilized is a problem. Right? When we say you are attached to the result, attached to the result means that you are utilizing that result. So if you see the difference between Arjuna and Duryodhana, right? So Arjuna would also fight and Duryodhana will also fight. Duryodhana, the result of any fighting for both sides, the intended result was victory. Duryodhana would utilize the victory for his self-gratification. The act is same, fight. Result is victory. But Duryodhana would utilize that victory for sense gratification, while Arjuna would utilize that victory in service of Krishna. The difference for us here is we will get the salary. We are utilizing that salary for what activities? For sense enjoyment or for pleasure of Krishna. That is what is we have to understand. Right? Act may be superficial, it may be same. Right? Here Prabhupada is saying that a Krishna conscious person may even act exactly like an ignorant person, right? Who is too much attached to material activities. But one is engaged in such activities for satisfaction of his sense gratification, whereas the other is engaged for the satisfaction of Krishna. Right? So is it clear to everyone? We'll move on to the next verse. Someone will like to read?
I will read, Sumanji. Hare Krishna. Na buddhi bhedam jnanayed ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan. So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna's consciousness.
Now, basically here Krishna is saying, don't disturb the ignorant. Right? Why is Krishna saying that?
I think if they are doing if they are attached to the both action and result, but if the action is not harmful. So we should let them do first, so that anyway they are doing the pious activity, but the purpose is for sense gratification, for example. Yeah, that's the first thing. So as gradually, if he keeps doing and he gets engaged in those kind of activities, probably one day he may realize that it doesn't matter. It's okay if I don't get the required fame or whatever it is in doing that activity.
Right.
Or they may, if we try to disrupt, they may even withdraw from doing that pious activity also.
Yes.
All possibilities.
What sometimes we say in Hindi, na ghar ka na ghat ka. He will end up doing nothing. Okay? See, the purpose is not to stop an activity. The purpose is to dovetail the desire.
Desire or intention.
Right? So if you just go whimsically and tell them that you are doing it wrong, first thing is he will say, who are you to tell me? Whether I tell you, it is not about any stranger. Even if you tell to your closest relative, they will maybe stop talking to you. So, we have to be, what Krishna is basically saying is, you have to act smart. Right? A devotee is intelligent. And we have to use our intelligence in helping others. Right? I have given this example many times, that if there is a person who is smoking 20 cigarettes, and if you tell them that you stop it, they will not be able to. Right? He may try it, but then he will not be able to do it. So, for example, I'm coming from the hospital, right? And my sister has gone through the lung transplant. And now we are gradually encouraging her to walk, right? Because she has been on bed for almost 4 months. And she's taking baby steps, right? Now we also encourage her to take, baby steps once at a time. Like, you cannot just you used to walk fast, you used to run, why can't you do that? No, it is gradual, right? You have to see where the person is and how you can help the person to come to the next level, right? So, because it is not about inducing person to stop doing any activity. It is all about how we can dovetail their desire from sense gratification to Krishna consciousness. And that also, you cannot tell them, hey, you are spoiling your life. No, it has to be very gradual and smartly done. So if you move on to the next slide, we'll see what Prabhupada explains in the purpose. What is this? Like any person, he is busy either in his profession or her profession, or busy with work. Why? What is the end result of work? It
Purification.
is money.
Sorry.
And with money, you can enjoy. Right? While money cannot give you happiness, money cannot give you love. But then also money can give you something. That is why people are after money. Last time we discussed that example of a plane which took off. And if we ask a pilot, what is good news? That there is a destination. He will say, okay, I'm flying from Bangalore to Delhi. And we are going towards Delhi. And what is the bad news? Pilots say, I don't know where I'm going. We should have goal in our life, right? And that goal should be dovetailed towards cultivating our Krishna consciousness. So someone will like to read this?
Vedaischa Sarvairaham Eva Veda. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals, all performances of sacrifices, and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all direction for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned souls do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. But through fruitive activities and sense gratification regulated by the Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the results of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna.
Prabhupada has very nicely explained that basically first thing is Vedescha Sarve Ahameva Vedyo, which is 15.15, right? The purpose of all the Vedas is what?
To know Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate. That is the purpose.
Vedescha Sarve Ahameva. What is the purpose of Vedas?
To realize that the end of Vedas, the ultimate goal of Vedas, is knowing Krishna.
Is Krishna. For example, nowadays parents, they will like to get their kids admitted in which college. They will see the outcome. What is the outcome? From which college, how much is the starting salary into the jobs, So now it is a totally different criteria. Which is better college, from which like my kid will earn 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 30 lakh, 50 lakh, 1 CR. Right? That is the end of studies. Now, what is the end of studying Vedas? Is it sense gratification or is it something else?
Teaching Krishna.
Yes. Vedescha sarve aham eva ved. Krishna here clearly in 15.15 he's saying the purpose of Vedas to understand me, right? To understand Krishna. That I am the center point of Vedas. But unfortunately, people who are busy in sense gratification, enjoyment, they approach Vedas for what?
For material desires.
For material. And they think, okay, in India there are problems. Let's go to USA. Let's go to Australia. Let's go to England, Canada. Then they realize, yeah, there also the problems are there. So I should find somewhere where there better quality of life. So then they think, oh, let's go to Swarga. There we can enjoy endlessly. In comparison to any standard of earth, let's go to Swarga, right? So their approach of doing any sacrifice, doing any worship, whatever it is, the whole purpose is for them is again sense gratification, right? Now, how should we handle the situation? Then a question can be asked, then why Vedas? Why Vedas are cultivating all these things? Now, Vedas are also similar to a doctor who is a chain smoker, a doctor will say, or a drinker, a drunkard, the doctor will say, you gradually, drink this, drink this. Not that that doctor is encouraging him to drink. Doctor actually wants him to reduce his bad habit. Similarly, when you approach Vedas, earlier you were doing sense gratification all out. But now when you go to Vedas, you will do this thing in a particular way. So it is like gradual upliftment of the individual consciousness. Because when you go to Swarga in the Vedas, you will realize Swarga also, there is death and there is birth. So is there any place where there is no death and birth, where I can really enjoy eternally? And then through Vedas, you will realize that there is a place. So we don't have to just tell them that, what you are doing is nonsense. No, we have to support them, handhold them in bringing them to the next step. That is what it is. Now, if we move on to the next slide.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Padma.
Verse number 26, sir, it is mentioned as attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties. Prescribed duty to be respected, no, sir, it cannot be renunciated.
No.
Sir, we should follow our prescribed duty, no, sir. Not audible, sir.
You're on mute.
Sorry. So what are our prescribed duties?
For each individual, it is different, no, sir.
It's different. Yes. For each individual, the prescribed duties are different depending on the psychophysical nature of an individual, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And now, here it is said that we should
respect our prescribed duty and respect others' prescribed duty, but both of us should reach Krishna.
The main thing is, for example, can you highlight some of your prescribed duties?
Very hard, sir, to differentiate. Like as a mother, I am doing some duties, and my duties towards my family and society will be different from the other person.
Can you highlight some of your prescribed duties? I will explain you then.
Yes, sir.
Like, for example, okay, let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you will cook for your kids.
Yes,
right?
sir.
You will take care that they are healthy.
Yes,
right?
sir.
You will take care that they are getting proper education.
Yes, sir.
Right? You will make sure to really take care of end to end everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What is the purpose?
Sir, I will feel as if I'm serving the God. I am thinking it is my duty to do that.
No. See, it is a duty of every parent, whether it is a human being or an animal, to take care of kids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right? Do you agree?
That's how the creation is made. So we
Right.
understand it that way.
Right. So it is no special prerogative when humans are saying that I have to take care of kids. No, even animals have, they also take care of the kids.
Yes, sir.
Like, for example, I tell you, if you go to a cow shed,
Yes, sir.
and if you try to touch a calf, the mother cow will try to move you, drag you away, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because she loves her calf,
Yes, sir.
right? She's trying to protect her, trying to nurture her. Cow never gives milk until unless the calf drinks it, right?
Yes, sir.
So cow is giving milk for whom? For calf,
Yes, sir.
primarily, right? Now, when we as parents are taking care of, and that is same for any animal. You know, in Vrindavan,
Yes, sir.
there are so many monkeys. And if you dare to touch a baby monkey in front of its mother,
Yes, sir.
then you are in a very, very critical situation, right? They are going to bite you. So all the animal species, the human species, the work is, so someone remember that verse, Mahabharat verse.
Ahara nidra bhayamaydunam.
Yeah.
Ahara nidra bhayamaydunam samanyamitat pasubhinnaraణam dharme hitesham adhiko visheshaha dharme nahina pasubhi samanaha.
Thank you, Sharmi. So eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These 4 activities are common
Yes,
for
sir.
animals and humans.
Yes, sir.
Right. The only difference is dharma.
Yes, sir.
Dharma is not defending.
Hmm.
Dharma is not sleeping. Dharma
Yes,
is not eating.
Yes, sir.
So if we think that this is my dharma to take care of kids, yes, it is not that it is not dharma. Yes, it is dharma.
Yes.
It is in a parameter of dharma.
Yes, sir.
But there is a difference between dharma and yajna.
Okay, sir.
Dharma is doing prescribed duties,
Okay, sir.
right? And prescribed duties, but yajna is what? When you do prescribed duties for
The
Krishna,
divine.
the divine.
Yes.
When you do prescribed duties for Krishna,
Hmm.
that is yajna. And Krishna says, yajna sista shina santo. No. Yagyat karmano anyat loko yam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. 3.9.
Okay, sir.
That you have to do your duty for who? As a yajna for me. If you don't do that, then you will be entangled in tadartham
Yes.
karma kaunteya.
Thank you,
Then you
sir.
will be entangled in the chain of
This
birth
attachments,
and death.
relationships.
Right?
worldly things. Yes, sir.
And today we will hear about 3.30 where Krishna will say, do everything for me.
Okay.
And then in 3.10, Krishna again said that I have created everything. I have made this universe so that you people can perform yajna.
Okay, sir.
So Krishna is, yes, dharma is important.
Yes,
We
sir.
have to do our prescribed duties. We have to take care of our responsibilities and everything and our kids. But the difference is consciousness.
Yes, sir.
Are we doing? If we are saying we are doing it as a service to divine, right?
Yes, sir.
Then comes the question, right? That is very important, that we are doing it as a service to divine, right? That we are cultivating our kids, right? Nurturing their Krishna consciousness more than their material prosperity.
Okay.
The decision making, the decisions we are making for kids is in alignment to what Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita,
Yes, sir.
right? We are feeding them prasad, when we are helping them, we are cultivating them. See, we should not force anyone. But what as a parent we can do, we can set a right example,
Yes,
right?
sir.
That we are such a nice devotee, right? So all those things, why we are doing? Because we are acting on behalf of Krishna. So in that way, we are not attached.
Yes, sir.
You remember we discussed about the result
Yes.
for our own self gratification or result for Krishna.
Yes, sir.
So here we are doing prescribed duties, but for satisfaction of Krishna,
Yes, sir.
not just for our kids, but we are doing our responsibility as a parent,
Yes, sir.
which is prescribed duty, but for satisfaction of Krishna.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Is it clear, Padma?
Yes, sir. I understood now, sir. Dharma helps in doing the prescribed duties, but it has to be performed like yajna. When we follow the methods given in Bhagavad Gita and live our life becomes yajna.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. So move on to the next slide. Yeah. Now, what is this? What is written here? Vaccines, they save life. Why have I brought vaccine here? Because nowadays everyone is so much conscious of vaccination, right? Now, if I ask you, see, we as healthcare providers, right? We know what a vaccine is, right? But until or unless the healthcare providers tell you people that why you should take vaccine, will you ever go and take vaccine? No, right? Now, there are people who, if informed, educated in a mass, in a general way, that you should get vaccine because it is going to protect you from further infection. They will go, many of them or some of them may go and take vaccines. But there are people, even if they have been told, they will follow what they want to do, right? So what happens is, healthcare providers are like devotees. They are like devotees. The healthcare providers, they themselves know that they should take vaccine, but they are also have a compassion for people in general, that they should not be dying like cats and dogs, right? They are compassionate, so they want to help people. They want to tell people that you should take vaccine. And so similarly, the devotees, they want to tell general mass about the importance of Krishna consciousness, because they have compassion for others. They really feel bad when they see people living a life of sense gratification. That is why they step out of their comfort zones to help others. Similarly, the doctors, the healthcare providers, they step out of their comfort zone to take care of people in general. But then there are people who, even if they are told, they will not follow. So they are like atheists. So what Krishna is basically saying, better not to disturb them. You can just tell them, inform them, but don't do something that they should start feeling that if they don't take vaccine, you are good for nothing. Do you understand? Not taking vaccine does not mean they will die for sure. No. Right? So we should gradually try to explain, if possible, gradually bring them to that understanding that they should be taking vaccine. Similarly, devotees should not force anyone or unnecessary, but they should find, if there are people who are favorable, who have faith on spirituality, who have faith on Krishna, then find out those people and then cultivate them gradually. So if you move on to the next slide, someone will read this.
I can read, Guruji. Ignorant people cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises not to disturb them and simply waste valuable time. But the devotees understand the Lord's purpose and approach ignorant men to try to engage them in the acts of Krishna consciousness, which are most beneficial for all.
Did you understand this statement?
Yes, sir.
Any question on this? The
Yes.
whole verse?
it's complementing the same thing what has been told in the movie. Right?
So what are these devotees doing here?
They are distributing books, Bhagavad
They're
Gita.
distributing books, Bhagavad Gita, right? So why do we distribute books?
So that they will know about Krishna.
Yes. So I was talking to Rajesh ji few days back, and Rajesh ji actually put forward same question, right? And we were discussing and we gave an example. Distributing books is like letting people know that in case you get sick, there is a hospital. In case you get sick, there is a hospital. So they should know that there is a hospital. Because most of the time we also see in our life that at any point of time, at some point of time, people will get sick. They go to hospital for themselves or relatives, right? So it's better for them to be informed. And we know that at some point of time, people will be frustrated of their material entanglement, of their activities in self-gratification. And we want to have something with them, which is Bhagavad Gita. If we give them Bhagavad Gita and they turn towards Bhagavad Gita, then their life can be transformed forever. For example, if a person knows where is a hospital and he or she gets sick, they can go to the doctor, and then doctor can give a personalized treatment. Similarly, when you read Bhagavad Gita, you understand what Krishna is trying to say. And when you meet devotees, then devotees can help you personally. How to nurture your Krishna consciousness gradually. Okay? So that is very important for us. Okay? So you move on to the next one. Someone will read this. Anyone of you can read.
Prabhuji, let me try. Prakrute kriyamānāni gunau karmāni sarvasha ahara kara vimudhatma karta hamiti manyate.
You can read the translation.
The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of the false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature.
The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of the activities. What does this mean?
So the soul gets confused with the influence of false ego, like aham. He thinks that he's doing whatever he's doing, he's thinking he is the only doer of all the activities. But in actuality, it's carried out by the three modes of material nature, like sattva, rajas, and tamas.
So to understand it, so we will discuss three modes of material nature more elaborately when we touch on 14th chapter and 18th chapter. Okay, but in bits and pieces, the modes will keep coming. The discussion about modes, and we have touched about the modes in our introductory session, one of the introductory sessions, right? So I really encourage you, if you can just go and have a look there, you know, about one of the sessions we conducted. Recording is also there, if I'm not wrong, of that session. And the session title was, Am I in Control? That was the 7th session out of the 9 sessions of introductory session. Am I in control? Okay. I would request you it will really, now when we are into Bhagavad Gita, you will understand it better. Okay, just go through it, it will help you. Okay. So basically the thing is, the spirit soul bewildered by the influence of false ego, ahankara. Ahankara vimoda atma. How is the atma here? Vimoda atma. Vimoda atma means bewildered by false ego. Right? And he thinks that kartaham iti manyate, that I am the doer. Right? Prakarte kriyamanani tuna karmani sarvasya. Right? It is the modes of material nature, basically. It's here Krishna is saying that it's not only us. Again, in 5th chapter, verse 13, 14, 15, we will discuss about this, that who are contributing and what is the relationship. And again in the 18th chapter, we'll discuss this from 14th to 16th verse about who are the contributing factors in any activity. Right? So material nature is one of the important factors in whatever and however we will act. Right? So soul is definitely going to initiate any action, but we are not the only doer. Our role is that we desire something. Our role is that we desire something. Okay? Now, if we move on to the next slide, what is happening here?
Cutting the base, the whole tree will fall down.
Who is cutting?
Person.
A person is cutting a tree using what?
Axe.
Using axe. So who is cutting? The person is cutting or the axe is cutting?
With the help of the person, the axe is working.
Can axe cut on its own?
No.
Can the person cut without the axe?
No. They are both interdependent.
They are both interdependent. Right? So there are factors who work in tandem, in coordination for a particular activity. This has been explained using this example. For woodcutter using an axe to cut a tree, right? Similarly, like for example, when we talk, right? It is we who desire, and the organ of speech helps us, right? Now, if I don't desire, can the organ of speech speak something?
No.
And if I desire, and if the organ of speech is not working in the working condition, can we speak? No, right? Similarly, there has to be a coordination and of different things. Now, Krishna explains that basically the modes of material nature, as Rajesh ji said, there are 3 modes of material nature. What are they? Satogun, Rajogun, and Tamogun. Goodness, passion, and ignorance, right? Now, the material nature in which we are living, it pushes us to act in a certain way. It pushes us to act in a certain way. For example, a Kshatriya is impelled to fight. It is his nature. And that nature cannot be easily given up. So what we have to do here? Yes, as we are driven by the modes of material nature, we have to act. Because every individual has been driven by a particular mode or a mixture of particular mode. No one is in a particular only one mode. We are all a conglomeration of different modes. Sometimes one mode is, more active, and at other time other mode is more active, right? Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
But what we have to do is, whether we are a Kshatriya is in a passion, mode of passion. Brahmana is a mode of goodness. Okay? And a Vaishya is in mode of a combination mode of passion and ignorance. And a Shudra is in primarily mode of ignorance. So yes, we have to act in a particular mode, but in the limits of dharma. In a limit of dharma. We have to try to dovetail our mind to act in the presence of dharma. Right? Because if you try to act in a way which is not as per your nature, then it can cause disruptions. For example, Shanmukhji has a key skill set of memorizing the verses. Now, if someone else will try to imitate Shanmukhji, then it will not work. You should work according to your nature. But how you should utilize that specific nature in service of Krishna, that is important. Do you get the point? Right? So, material nature. So, first thing is that we are not the doer. What are we? We are driven by a particular mode of nature. And there are other things, which I will explain in the next slide. We understood from X and the woodcutter example also, right? And the important point is that, yes, there are other factors influencing us, but we should try to work to dovetail that nature in services of Krishna within the presence of dharma. Okay. If you move on to the next slide, yes. So here the Jiva desires. Jiva desires, the super soul will have to verify and sanction based on our credibility. You know, Shanmukhji, if you have a credit card, there is always a credit limit. You cannot just withdraw endless cash, right? So you may have endless desires, but how those desires will be sanctioned depends on how much you deserve, right? So you desire, then Krishna will see, and then Krishna will sanction something. When Krishna sanctions a particular desire or a particular degree of a desire, then Krishna gives instructions to whom? Prakriti, material nature. And the material nature will facilitate that desire, will execute that. Right? After receiving super soul's order, material nature through three modes fulfill Jiva's desire. So here, who is the doer?
Super soul or Krishna.
Here, it is a combination, right? But please try to understand. The free will and responsibility of Jiva will never disappear. You desiring to do something, you will always have that free will. Whether you want to dovetail that free will in alignment with Krishna or against that is your prerogative. Krishna will never dictate that. He will facilitate. But we will only be able to do something with the help of material nature and Supreme Personality of God. Right? So Jiva is not only the factor. So even if a foolish person thinks that I can do this, someone who thinks I can do, Baba, You may desire, you may want to do so many things, but it is not always that you are able to do the same thing every time, right? We are always dependent on material nature and Krishna for any activity. So we'll move on to the next verse. Someone will like to read?
तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between the work in devotion and work for fruitive results.
Tadvitti, right? Tadvitti means one who is in knowledge. So one who is in knowledge of absolute truth, O mighty arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing very well the difference between work in devotion and work in fruitive result. The person who is in knowledge, a devotee, will never get entangled in the fruitive result, right? So what we have to do in that case? Why? Because a devotee is an intelligent person. He knows, that we are in a very awkward situation here. We are in a very awkward situation. He knows that we are part and parcel of Krishna, but somehow we have been brought here into the material world, right? And what we have to do is to utilize everything we have, dovetail in Krishna's services. To dovetail in Krishna's services. So therefore, he engages himself in Krishna conscious activities. He will try to utilize his everything, right? Because everything otherwise in the material world is temporary. It is fickle. Now, we have used here a background of this computer settings. Now, what is this? This may be, I wanted to explain that when you buy a computer, sometimes it comes with a, your company would give, it comes with a default setting, right? Now that default setting, or sometimes those, when you use something, your phone, because of its artificial intelligence, it will predict, what you want to type, and it will give you options. So the default, how a default is formed? Because many people are using that, right? Or most people are using that. So it becomes a default, right? But so default is something which is, it comes, right? And if you want to change the default settings, then you will have to work on it. You will have to really go and change the settings and all those things, right? So what is our default, our own default setting, and how is it formed? Because since many past lives, we have been doing certain activities. What we are doing? We are doing many activities, and which is why our samskaras are formed. Why a person likes to do something in this direction? If you pinch 10 people, 10 people will have 10 different reactions, right? Because they have their own default settings dependent on how they have lived their past millions of lives, and they have individual default settings. What we have to do is to change the default setting. But that default setting, if needs to be changed, it needs some endeavor, right? So that endeavor will have to put. That is important, right? We have to clearly differentiate that this is material activity and this is spiritual activity. For many lifetimes, we have been doing material activities. But now, having got this human birth, having come in association of devotees, we are realizing that we need to change our default settings to make our computer more productive, right? So we have to make this machine more productive in services of Krishna, right? So any change of default setting will need endeavor, right? So that we have to put in. We'll move on to the next slide. So who will read this?
I can.
Arshad, you would like to? Who? Arshad will read this. Why is Harshad is saying he's unable to mute? Harshad, you are unmuted now, I think. Harshad, we are not able to hear you. You are unmuted. He's saying unable to unmute, but I see that he's unmuted. I think so. You are on double mute. Maybe you can dial out and dial in. Right? Okay, Padmaji, you will read.
Yes, sir. Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge.
Right. So again, here Krishna is saying, don't disturb the ignorant. Right? Don't disturb them. Let them do what they are doing. Right? So that is important to understand that, because they have their own default settings and it may be difficult for them. If you want to make so many changes overnight, it may be difficult. So gradually try to engage them in devotional service. Prabhupada, when he started ISKCON, you know, how did he start this? He would feed everyone prasadam. He will prepare himself and he will feed them and he will tell them to sing kirtan. And gradually they develop the Krishna consciousness. Prasadam is a very important tool. You know, start offering food to Krishna. That will be important. So we'll move on to the next slide. So there it is, a summary, like I've summarized all the verses, 5 verses we read. Okay. Any questions on this? Any questions on this? So I just want to check. Do you want to go ahead or should we pause this slide?
3.3.
Can we move ahead?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah. So, Nikita, can you please move ahead? The next slide. Can someone please read this?
Read to me. मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्य विगतज्वरः. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight.
So here, for the first time, Krishna is saying, do all your work for me. Earlier, how did he start?
Tani Sarvan.
Yeah, that time he said, use your senses for me, right?
Then Yajnadha.
So initially he said, Karmanye Vadika Raste. What? What did he said in Karmanye Vadika Raste? Do your duty, but do your duty without attachment to the result, right? He didn't talk about doing your duty for someone like Vishnu or me. No. He said, do your duty. And then he gradually brought all of us to the point, Yagyat Karmano Anyat. Do your duty as a Yagya. Yagyat Karmano Anyat Loko Yam Karma Bandhana. If you don't do it, you will be bound in Karma Bandhana. Tadartham Karma Kontra. Do your duty for Vishnu. Mukta Sangha Samachara, you will be free. Right? He said, do your duty as a Yagya for Vishnu. He specifically didn't say, do it for me. And now he's saying, do your duty for me. Mai Sarvani Karmani. Sarvani means all, not only one. Like morning, you can do arti and chanting and that's all. He sings, Mai Sarvani Karmani. Sarvani means all sort of activities, your all activities. For whom we should do? For Krishna. For Krishna. Very important verse. Mai Sarvani Karmani. How should we do? Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa, with full knowledge. In our consciousness, in our Chetna, we should have full knowledge of whom? Krishna. Sanyasya Adhyatma Chetasa. Consciousness will be full of Krishna. Giving up completely the desires of sense gratification. Right? And then Nirasir Nirmano. How should we do? Nirasir and Nirmano. Nirasir means without a desire for profit. And Nirmamo means without thinking of being a proprietor. Right? Nirasir Nirmamo Bhutva. Nirasir means without desire of profit. Nirmamo means without having desire of profitability. Yuddhasya Vigata Jora. Now again he's saying Yuddhasya Vigata Jora. Vigata Jora means without
getting rid of lethargy.
What did you say, Shanmugji?
Without lethargy. And
Without lethargy.
Vigata Jora.
Jora means, you know what is Jora?
Fever.
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 Parmaji knows.
Jadhyam.
Fever. What? There is one more meaning because that's why you are asking. Fever of what?
Jadhyam. This is
Huh?
lethargy. Fever of lethargy.
Fever of laziness.
Fever of material propensities.
Okay.
There are two meanings. One is you should not be lazy. Second is Yuddhasya Vigata Jara. Do your fighting not for yourself.
For the material benefit.
Yeah, do it for me. Okay? So there are two. This verse is very important. This is, this is like, if you count like one of the 10 most important verses of Bhagavad Gita. This will be one of them for at our level. Now if I tell you what happens, that it depends on where we are in our consciousness, in our spiritual life, and depending on them, sometimes a verse become important for us. So for all of us, where we are in our spiritual life, this verse is very important. So Padmaji, I think so this verse gives you answer of your question.
Yes, sir. I'm understanding. Thank you, sir.
Here Krishna is directly saying, right? Do for me. Okay. And next, Prabhupada explains it very nicely. So if you please move on to the next slide. What is this?
Cash counter.
Bank.
Who sits in the cash counter?
Receptionist.
Cashier.
Cashier.
What does the cashier do?
Collects the
Cashier
money.
collects money and give money. People will come. So if someone comes and deposit 1 crore rupee, 10 crore rupee, the cashier is very happy, or when the cashier has to give 1 crore rupee, someone has come to withdraw, will the cashier be sad?
Doesn't matter for him.
Doesn't matter for cashier. And does the cashier think that this is my money is coming and my money is going? No. Krishna is saying, similarly, you have to work for me. The way cashier is working for the bank, not thinking how much it is coming and going. The bank will give me money, my salary for my maintenance. You do your duty. Prabhupada is giving a very nice example here, right? What is Prabhupada saying? That you should work as a cashier. Cash may count thousands of this thing, right? Similarly, we should be doing so many things, but we know whom does it belong to?
Who is the proprietor?
Who is the proprietor? So we'll move on to the next slide. Who will read this?
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from bondage of fruitive actions. Second one, but those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled, and ruined in their endeavors for perfection.
So now when Krishna in 30th verse said, you do everything for me. So here what will happen? Krishna is saying, those persons who execute their duties according to my injunction and follow the teachings faithfully and without envy, become free from bondage of fruitive actions. Krishna wants two things from us: that we should have faith on him, and second thing is we should not be envious of him. What do you mean by being envious? Shanmukhi, will you tell me?
I think Anasuyanta, there was a word used. That's what envious means. Means not having jealous or as opposition.
Jealous of whom?
No, not jealous, but probably envious means, I think, disrespect or ignoring the injunctions of Krishna.
Can anyone be envious of Krishna?
No.
Huh?
No.
Shanmukhi, Hasini is whose daughter?
Yeah, biologically my daughter. Yeah.
In a 24-hour, how many times you think she is your daughter versus she is Krishna's daughter?
I don't think mostly either of them is, unless the need is there. Yeah, but at least
So-
I think that the welfare is taken care by Lord.
So the thing is that if we are claiming proprietorship on anything, if we are thinking about profit and loss, then our faith on Krishna is not 100%. If we are claiming that this is mine, then we are, because Krishna says, Bhoktaram yagatapsam sarvalok maheshwaram suhridaya sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shanti mricha. Aham bij pratapita. I am the seed giving father. So if we are acting on a platform that something is mine, then we become, by default, we are, why? Because Krishna has said, this is my position, right? And we are trying to reclaim that position from him and trying to say, this is mine. You know? So we are becoming envious of him, his position, you know? Why only he? You know, I am also this. This is mine. This is mine. Right? So what Krishna is saying, person who acts, who execute their duties according to Krishna's injunction, right? And follow this faithfully and without envy. Because what happens is, if we become envious of Krishna's position, that becomes a difficult situation. As devotees, and please try to understand, we cannot change our consciousness overnight. We have to dovetail it. When we start practicing the limbs of devotional service like chanting, hearing, remembering, right? Doing sub sevas, gradually we are dovetailing everything. Please try to understand. You could have done something for sense gratification in the same time. Like we are studying Bhagavad Gita. We could have just watched a movie. Krishna is saying, I am time. I have given you this body so that you can cultivate Krishna consciousness. I have created the universe so that you can perform yajna. And what are you doing? You are watching TV. You are watching movie. So then we are not acting according to his directions. And we become envious of his position, which is why Krishna says, I am the only bhokta. So here we also want to become a bhokta. I want to enjoy something. Right? How can only he be the enjoyer? I am also the enjoyer. Like finger says, I will eat the food. Can finger eat the food? Only if we put it in the stomach, it will be distributed. So Krishna is giving us the right direction. And then Krishna is saying, but those who are envious of me and they disregard his teaching, and do not follow them, consider they are considered bereft of all knowledge and beautiful and ruin their endeavor for perfection. So we have explained these two verses in subsequent slide. Okay. So working for Krishna is following him. So result of following his teachings are in 31 verses, not following in 32. So we have examples like, Arjun, Maharaj, Yudhishthir, Parikshit, Maharaj, Amrish, Janak Maharaj, right? They fall into verse number 31. While others like Duryodhana, Shishupal, they fall in verse number 32. And where do we fall?
In
Somewhere
between,
in
trying
between.
to go to 3.31. Yeah.
Right. Somewhere in between. Right? We are gradually, like we are changing our default settings of our computer, trying to spiritualize things. Right? So now, if a person is aware that if I don't comply, if I don't hear Krishna, I will be liable for sinful activities. So, will the person be afraid of that? Will the person be afraid of committing sinful activities? Not necessarily, right? Why? Because such a person is sometimes forcefully impelled to act sinfully due to his strong habits or impressions, the vasanas and sanskaras. And we discussed that how the vasanas and sanskaras are developed, right? Right? From our past lives. You know, our vasanas and sanskaras are coming from past lives. And even from this life also, what we have done so far, it develops particular. And to change that needs really endeavor. It needs help, not only from you, but from others who can help you. Right? And here we have added a bullet point, what to talk about those who don't know about anything, whether we will be punished or not. So in subsequent slide, I've tried to highlight how these habits are developed. So it starts with the thought. Some thought comes in our mind. That will be good. Should I try that? Right? Try to think over it. Dhyayato. Try to think over it. Contemplation. And then what you will do? Okay, let me try it. Right? The action happens. And then you experience, wow, this was good. And you will try that again and again, and it becomes a habit. Right? And the association actually plays an important role, because if you develop a certain habit, you like to also try to mingle with those type of people. For example, drunkards, why do they go to bar? Because they see everyone around themselves. Why do people who like to read, they go to library? Everyone wants association. And association impacts us and plays an important role in developing our habits. That is why it is said that reading, when we are reading scriptures, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, anything, read it in association. That is very helpful. Right? Because that helps, to discuss things. So this is where we will end our today's session. So I want to check if you have any questions.
One question on the food. So what we discussed in previous slide was based on the material nature, you are forced to do certain things. Like let's say if you are in a authoritative position.
Rajesh, can you please speak a little louder? I'm not able to hear you.
Okay. So am I clearly audible now? Is the voice okay? Or?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So let's say if we are in authoritative position, let's say if we are Kshatriyas, we are bound to do war and all, right? Protect the Rajyam and everything. Now, we need to have some aggressiveness as a Kshatriya. But in such case, for Kshatriyas, is the food recommended is still Sattvika only, or they can take Rajasic food also?
Very good question. See, we just discussed that whichever mode we are in, we should live in the limits of dharma, in the presence of dharma, right? So, whatever mode we are in, right? We will, although in 18th chapter we will study that there are people who are passionate. They like to eat more spicy food and all those. Those who are sarthik will not eat that spicy. Those who are ignorant will eat all, non-veg and all things, right? Depending on your mode, activities are defined, right? But if you are a Kshatriya, it doesn't mean, to develop your aggression, because please try to understand that, your aggression, yes, your food habit play a role, right? But your aggression, it is the mode of nature which is driving you, which you have developed, right? So what we have to do now, people who want to follow spirituality, who follow dharma, follow instructions of Krishna, we have to do our prescribed duty in the presence of dharma for Krishna.
Okay.
But people who are Kshatriya and who have nothing to do with spirituality, they definitely, they will, passionate. They will like to eat something and all those things. Yes. Right?
Okay.
And any other question?
Sumit, in this flow chart, let's say there are thoughts and then the contemplation and all that. So basically, if it is not materialized into action, it will just contaminate us, right?
So you
And
remember
then-
we discussed about
Yes,
Karmendriya and Jnanendriya.
yes. And only when it materialized into action, then depending on the nature of the action, it will cause the bondage, the conscious and all, it will cause the bondage. But here it will impurify. But unless it is materialized into action, the bondage or the reaction will not be carried forward with us.
Right.
Is that the right answer?
And that will be easier.
Yes.
We learned that cycle 2.62 and 3.
Jayato Bhusyantam.
Huh?
Yeah.
So if you stop it
And the
somewhere,
thought.
as earlier
Thought.
you stop, easier it will be and better it will be.
Yeah. And the chanting will help a lot.
Undoubtedly, see, that is what we learned in 2.66,
Yes.
right? Nasti buddhi
Nasti
ayuktasya
buddhirayuktasya.
nachayuktasya bhavana nacha bhavayata shantara shantasya. Right? So chanting, reading, hearing,
Yes.
remembering,
Engaging. Yeah.
all these things help us. They help us to develop transcendental intelligence and a stable mind. And this gives us peace, and peace will give us happiness.
Sumitji?
Yeah.
They say Janmataha, everybody is a Sudra, only based on karma they become a Brahmaputra. What is
Padmani,
that?
this is an important question. See, in Kali Yuga,
Yes, sir.
everyone is born as a Shudra,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
right? In Kali Yuga, we sometimes think I am a Brahman Putra and I'm this and that. Actually, we are all Shudra. Why? Because in Kali Yuga, our intelligence and our this is very poor,
Yes, sir.
right? Now, so yes, your first question is yes, we are all Shudra. What is your second question?
Based on karma, we become Brahmaputras.
Yeah, based on not karma, you can say based on our bhakti.
Okay.
Karma, like dharma, when we do for Krishna, it becomes yajna.
Okay,
Karma,
sir.
when we do for Krishna, it becomes bhakti. Right? So, Brahmaputra means, what do you mean by Brahmaputra? Brahman.
Child of the Creator.
Yeah. Child of the Creator. Like everyone is child of Creator, but we becomes a good child. Right?
Yes, sir.
There
Because
is a
of
good child
devotion.
and there is a naughty child. Both
Yes.
are, even demons are children of Krishna,
Yes, sir.
but they are naughty child.
Yes, sir.
Devotees are favorable. And if
When
they
will the
follow,
question of Kshatriya comes, sir? How will we recognize Kshatriya in ourselves?
yes. So, see, Kshatriya in Kali Yuga, although we are saying everyone is a Shudra, why we are Shudra? Because we are in Kali Yuga, the intelligence, the earlier, Padmaji, everyone were Shutridhar. They will hear, they will remember for forever.
Okay,
Our
sir.
scriptures were never written. Why?
They were
Must be passed
listened
on
to the
generations
Guru.
to generations only by hearing and speaking,
Yes, sir. Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
Sutta Goswami, when he spoke Bhagavatam, he just
Yes.
heard from Sukdev Goswami,
Yes, sir.
and then he repeated it in Naimisharan.
Yes, sir.
है ना?
Yes. Yes,
So
sir.
it was not he was reading Bhagavatam.
Yes, sir.
So the memory, everything, the age, everything is poor in Kali Yuga. But even then, we have our own psychophysical natures. For example, I tell you,
Yes, sir.
if you ask, for example, me to become like Shanmukhji,
Mm.
who can memorize so many verses, who can recite verses nicely, do you think if even I will try, like for example, one more thing,
Yes, sir.
my all the friends they know, just don't ask Sumit for one thing.
Mm.
He cannot sing.
Okay.
He cannot sing, so don't ask him. And he can, singing is difficult. He cannot even follow nicely. So you lead and you follow. It will be even difficult for him to follow, to play instruments and all, difficult. Because I am being born with a particular psychophysical nature.
Okay, sir. Yeah.
If I try to imitate another person of other psychophysical nature, Krishna is saying, you will be doomed to failure.
Yes, sir.
So we are Shudra in a particular aspect, but then there are people, who are really passionate for country, for administration. They
Yes.
are really good at it.
Yes, sir.
For them, it is seamless.
Yes, sir.
The way reciting verses is seamless for our Shanmukhji.
Yes, sir.
Administration may be seamless for other devotee.
Okay, sir. Got it.
And for third person, it may be, taking care of the treasury of the temple.
Yes, sir.
How we can help, temple, right? Or then the fourth person will be that how we can, his mind does not work in these things. In what
Yes.
things? Brahmanical things, or, security or administration thing, or transaction of finances. No, this doesn't. You tell me, I will do my job.
Yes, sir.
So even in Kali Yuga, different. And what about other yugas? They were Kshatriyas, right?
Yes, sir.
And there's also important thing, one more, that people see, generally it is not advised that we should do others' work. Krishna also says you cannot do.
Adharma and Paradharma.
Hai na?
Yes, sir.
But who was Dronacharya?
Dronacharya.
Who was he? Like
Brahmana.
in Varna and Ashram, what was his Varna?
Brahmana.
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 Hai na? He was, and what is the Brahmana doing in Kurukshetra?
I know. He's fighting like a Kshatriya.
He was fighting like a Kshatriya.
Yeah.
Parashuram,
Parshuram.
who was he? By Varna.
Brahmin.
Brahmin. What did he do? So there are people who are above this and who can act, but you should not imitate.
Okay, sir.
Krishna is giving a direction for us. So he's saying, we cannot imitate. Like someone who is a really good cook, and if you want, like, why am I not? Don't live in that, in a world of comparison.
Whatever comes from within, we can follow
You
that.
do it nicely for Krishna. And you
Yes.
can do, Krishna is saying you can dovetail all the activities for me.
Yes, sir.
Hai na?
Yes, sir. Thanks for the explanation. Thank you, sir.
Any other comment?
One last question.
Sumit.
Prabhuji. Yeah. So you said, the psychophysical nature of, one person. Based on that, he need to choose his work or whatever, right? But following the spirituality, so does it depend on the psychophysical nature of a person, or it is applicable to all?
No, it also. That is what I just said, that it also depends. That why we should do, what is prescribed to you. First thing is what you are good at, like, But in spirituality, there is one thing. When your spiritual master asks you specifically to do certain things, then it is like coming directly from Krishna. And then when the spiritual master gives you instruction, he empowers you. It is not his instruction. It is his He's empowering you with his instruction to do certain activities. But in spirituality also, it is encouraged that we should use our own skill set according to our own psychophysical nature. Yeah, Harshad, you were asking something?
Yeah, Sumit. So I wanted to check what is more important, the intention or the action?
We just explained so much about this. Na? Why the question is coming?
No, just wanted to ask, if suppose someone has, good intention, but they're not transcribing their actions in the right, or maybe channelizing in the right direction. So is that useful, or someone is doing for the sake of doing it, but his intentions aren't correct?
You are telling two things. I am not able to understand your question, Archana.
Yeah. So what I'm asking is, we talked about two things. One is the intention, and the other one is the action. So if suppose someone is having the right intention, but they are not, these intentions aren't transcribing into the right actions, basically.
Give me an example.
So suppose, for example, there is a person who wants to do something for, Krishna's temple. That's his intention. But he is not doing his action by, visiting the temple or doing some service and things like that. But his intentions are there. And on the other side, there is someone whose intention isn't that pure, but he is doing it for the sake of society, or maybe someone else is doing it, and then he's just doing that, basically.
So why the first person, he has intention, why he's not able to go to temple?
Not sure.
Maybe because of past karmas, the thoughts are not converted into action. Vasanas.
See, like if someone is putting an endeavor, right? Please try to understand here, we are talking about an activity primarily, right? If we are doing any activity, right? How that activity should be done is about karma yoga, right? So when you are doing an activity, like for example, trying to kill animals. Now you say my intentions are good, but I'm killing animal because my vasanas, because of my sanskaras. This is not what it is. You are trying to change the scriptures according to your, like what Brahmanas did in past. And that is why Adi Shankaracharya had to come. That they were using scriptures for their own sense gratifications. They are trying to justify what they are doing through the scriptures, right? So that is not right. We cannot do anything using scriptures and trying to justify what we are doing using scriptures, right? So thinking that my intentions are good, that, I'm trying to follow Krishna, right? And all this. So that is little difficult thing, right? But for example, if it's, I think so, Harshad, you will have to give me an example to, otherwise I may go in another direction.
Nothing's particularly coming to my mind, Sumit. Just thought of, clarifying the difference between intention and action. That's all. Yeah. Anyways, maybe I can think over this.
What I was trying to explain between intention and action.
Yeah. You have explained it, and it's pretty clear to me also.
Yeah. With this example which I gave, the killing of an animal.
Yes. Thanks.
Intention and action.
Yes.
Right? See, we cannot justify our action. Please try to understand. It is that our intention to please Krishna, to be a devotee, which is why we act. Right? It is not that we are killing someone And then, we are justifying that I killed that person thinking that becomes a wrong intention. But if we are doing certain activity, like we are working, right? And I have bought a laptop. And why I have bought a laptop? Knowing that why did I want to buy a laptop? That I wanted to utilize it for Krishna. I had this purpose, which is why I wanted to utilize it for Krishna, right? And in the presence of our Krishna conscious also, there are rules and regulations also, right? That you have to follow these things nicely. For example, I give you an example. I already gave you example of Parishuram and Dronacharya. Sometimes when your spiritual master asks you to do something, then he empowers you. And then you can really do things which may seemingly be out of the presence of dharma, but they fall into higher dharma, which is yajna. Okay. Any other question or comment?
So 1 minute is okay, sir, to ask.
Yeah, actually, I have to.
No problem.
You have a question, huh?
A small one, sir. Like the judge is ordering the hanging man to hang a person. So will karma touch the judge or the hanging person? Their job is that.
Yes. So, see, we have discussed that, right? Now, it will not come to anyone.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
It will not
They
come
need
to
not
anyone.
change their profession, sir. Thank you, sir.
If a doctor is operating upon a person,
Yes, sir.
he is doing his duty. Now,
Yes.
what for he's doing his duty is important. He's
Yes.
doing that duty to earn money to enjoy, or that is something.
Yes, sir.
But a
Yes.
doctor has to put an incision to take
Yes,
out the tumor. A
Yes.
judge. So I'm sorry, I have to dial into another
No problem.
session.
Sorry.
But
Yes.
I hope you understand the answer,
Yes,
right?
sir. Thank you, sir. It will not touch anyone. They are doing their duty.
Yeah, it will help the person who is being hanged, because we are stopping his bad karmas.
Okay, sir. Understood, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay.